Hey everybody, I got two different camera feeds, two different points of view here. I just took a break yesterday because I was busy working and doing lots of clerical stuff. I just kind of wanted a day off. In the midst of getting so much done, I really just wanted a chance to kind of relax. And honestly, I felt a little bad for leaving you guys out for a day. The videos are available, of course, on my Facebook page to watch after the fact. They're also available on YouTube. I wanted to encourage you, if you have any questions about what I'm teaching and you want like a tutorial, you want like a specific pose broken down into its own video, you got a question about inversions, you got a question about balance poses, just write me. I'm happy to chat with you. If you want to video message me on Instagram or Snapchat, feel free to contact me. But I'm going to go ahead and get up to the front and get started. I wanted to explore a little bit of, I believe it's called, is it half moon? Anyway, revolved half moon, I don't remember. There's a standing kind of balance pose that I really like that I wanted to try today. So I'm going to build you guys up through it. We're going to start with sun salutes just to kind of warm up. And we're just going to see how we feel as we get started, let practice develop. Again, if you have blankets, a towel, a belt, a tennis ball, a foam roll, grab it. I think that'll be beneficial. We could use those. If you don't have a foam roll particularly, a couple of blankets you could fold and make fit what we're doing quite well. So stand up at the front of your mat. Hips width distance between the feet. Parallel lines from second toe to heel. For a lot of people, they'll say it feels pigeon toe. I want you to move around, create some space, shake out your arms. Just get yourself moving. And always return back to the breath. If you ever feel something sharp, back out. If something is painful, back out. You can push yourself towards your edges, but you want to be comfortable while we are working. Big in-breath up. And slowly bend at the waist, bend the knees, swan dive forward. And slowly up. Arms up. Lift overhead, look up. And back to neutral. Back at mountain pose. Lift the kneecaps. Tuck the tailbone. Navel in towards the spine, shoulder blades back and down, palms at your side, arms fall away from the shoulder joint. The shoulder blades are generally kind of back and down, and there's a slight retraction on the head and neck. It's like somebody grabbed my ponytail and just pulled it back just a little. You just want to feel length up and out the crown. Big in-breath, arms up, and swan dive forward. Walk it out. Left to right, side to side. Feel free to move the head and neck. I have some issues with that because of that old trauma from the car accident. So I love being able to move my head and neck around and create space. We're still cold, still warming up. Feel free to move and mobilize the joints. Hang over your thighs. And big step back with the right foot. Runner's lunge, find your balance. You can bring arms wide or you can bring them to your chest. Left knee is over the left ankle. Lift the kneecap on the right leg. Straighten the right leg just a little. Engage in the front of that right hip. Arms wide. Swan dive forward. Left foot back, plank. Elbows into your side, lift yourself up. And slowly in the down dog. You can walk the feet forward if that feels better to you. I've had an ankle crack, not an ankle, my elbow cracked. Moving that around, side to side, trying to find some space as we're just warming up, mobilizing our joints, moving. Where we hold tension, you're going to notice patterns in your body. You're going to have a tendency to favor the poses that you like the most and go away from the poses you don't like. Lean into the right, lean into the left. Balanced weight between hands and feet. You can lift the head and neck and move it around. Don't worry about perfect form. Your form is different than my form, is different than everybody else's form. We'll work towards better alignment in the poses, but everybody's shaped differently, has a different range and mobility. What feels good to you? I can't see you, I'm teaching online, so what feels nice? What feels spacious? Step the right foot forward. Good balance here. Bring your body up. Got a knee crack there. See? Little movements. Body creating space as we work. Hands in prayer if you want. Long spine. Lift and lengthen. Weight into the right foot. Step forward. Runner's lunge. I said runner's lunge. Forward bend. Walk it out. Left to right. Side to side. Where do you feel tension? Tightness? Work on it. Move it around. Your body's not the enemy. It's not something to be overcome. It's something to become deeply, deeply accepted. Right where you're at. And slowly back up, back to neutral. Let your blood flow change. We had our heart above the head, now our head is above the heart. Changing blood pressure in the head. Breathe, feel where you're at. Do you feel like the mountain? Do you feel long, tall, and capable of being pushed over? Out the mouth. No tension. Big in breath. Swan dive forward again. Walk it out. Left to right. Side to side. Back and forth. I'm going to step that right foot back, and I'm going to drop that knee. I'm going to create a little more stretch just in the front of the hip. I want to hang out a bit here, a bit more today. I felt a little more tightness on this right side. I've had some issues with this interior right hip compartment. The quadriceps and their insertions feel kind of tight. I've also got some long-standing issues, I think, with my tensor fascia lata. And no, tensor fascia lata is not a Starbucks drink. It is a muscle on the outside of my hip. If I walk my body over, I feel like I get into that compartment in a way that feels really good to me. It feels like I've got an itch, and I scratch it right there. Feel free to use your hands, your palms, wherever you want to be able to reach down into the front of the hips. There's no judgment about how deep into a pose you can go. Strength changes. Flexibility changes. It's all about working with your body where it's at. Honoring your range of motion. When you finish the class, are you more mobile? Yeah. You've created safety in your nervous system, Your body allows you to open up, to stretch, to mobilize in a way that feels good. I've come back to center here. I'm a little more facing the hips straight forward. This anterior compartment in the front of that right hip just wants that deeper stretch right through there. Now, if I've got enough balance, I can put a forearm on this left thigh. I can bring my body up. When my body is up, that's going to deepen the pressure in the hips. You tell me if you want to do this. If this is too much, you can always back out. You can go back down. It's going to take some pressure off. Where's your best stretch? Oh, right there. Now, this resembles much more what my practice is like when I'm just working on myself. Not teaching. I'm just hanging out. And what you're going to do is with meditative focus on that area, in that anterior hip compartment. I'm going to be quiet for just a second so you can see what this looks like. You can hear me breathing through my nose or occasionally out through my mouth. Deep focus just on that one spot. Now, I've been in this long enough for me. I'm going to slowly back out by turning that foot up, bringing my body up, back into runner's lunge. Feels very different in the front of this hip. That was a deep, deep stretch. I'm going to forward fold, left foot back, and I'm going to actually walk that hip out. That was so deeply stretched forward, my hip wasn't even used to it. It feels like my hip's in a different spot. I'm going to drop down, elbows into the side, lift up. Move the shoulder blades, head and neck around. Open the chest. And downward facing dog. Walk it out. This allows me to bend that right anterior hip compartment. It feels very different to me. Much more open, less restricted, even though before I couldn't have told you it felt restricted. But once I lengthen it that way, it feels like it's in an odd position because those muscles were likely tight, pulling across the hip joint. Bend your knees, roll your tailbone up. Slowly, you can begin to straighten the legs and drop the heels as close to the mat as you like. Where's your good stretch? It doesn't matter if you get the heels down. It doesn't matter at all. Out the mouth, out the mouth. If you got to relax the jaw. Big pipe out the mouth. Just blow it out. Now, right foot forward, and same as the other side. I'm going to find my balance. I had a little crack on this hip. When I lifted that hip forward, the muscles and tendons through there are sort of working around the joint for stability. And now I'm moving this hip in a very different direction, complete opposite as before. And I feel almost like a little bit of a catch in that right hip. But if I had some injury there, maybe some tight muscles around it, I'm very gently going to explore through the range to feel what feels comfortable to me. Now, what's interesting is I don't feel any stretch in the front of this right hip. Left hip. I don't feel any of this. I feel a deep stretch right on the anterior, and I'm just going to honor where my body is at. Where do I want to go? What feels intense, but ooh, interesting. What's that? Is it when I let my knee go a little bit lateral, or is it when I pull the knee into my side? You tell me. If you want more pressure, you can always bring the body up. I'm pressing the left top of the foot down to the ground to stabilize my kneecap. I can bend into this hip to drop as deeply as I want. What feels good to you? I like right there. And just like before, you can bring the hands down. You can turn the left foot under, back into runner's lunge. Now, step forward. And walk it out, side to side, left to right, front to back. Little bit faster now. Big in-breath, arms up, swan dive forward. Step the right foot back. Runner's lunge. Roll forward, left foot back, plank, drop down, upward dog, downward facing dog. Would you believe that down dog is the rest pose? Aha, it is. Once your body is adapted to it, this is one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorite poses. I'm going to step the right foot forward, runner's lunge, and back down again, down dog. Now this time I'm going to move the foot equidistant between the hands. I'm going to lift the left leg, lift it up and shake it out. Open through that anterior hip. I feel more there. Might be my iliopsoas, maybe my QL, getting a little bit of a stretch. The iliopsoas is in the front. The quadratus lumborum connects along the rib cage at the bottom, the floater ribs, and goes down to the iliac crest in the posterior. Now find your pose. What have I said about hand position? Forearms, elbows, shoulders, shoulder blades, spine, head and neck. Well, Iyengar would have very specific alignment for all of that, but I'm not there to instruct you. I'm going to drop the left foot down, equidistant between the hands, now right side. And move it around. Feel free to move your hands and arms if you need to. Good stretch through my left calf, left plantar surface of the foot, and left hamstring. Semimembranosus, semitendinosus, biceps femoris. Aha! I know those muscles. Now, walk it out. Left to right, side to side. Lift the head and neck. Move it around. Create space. Now, hop both feet forward. Forward bend. And slowly roll up. Breathe. Don't hold your breath. Continue to breathe as you go. I'm going to go ahead and restart this guy.